Maddox.
Now recording.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Now Recording. I've assembled a team to really get into this whole Maddox situation. About a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now, maybe a week and a half ago, Maddox put out a 3-hour-long manifesto-like video on Dick Masterson, and we had Dick Masterson on a couple months ago now to talk about some of the Maddox stuff as well as other things. Yeah, Dick. Mitch likes him. Mitch likes him a bit
hefty.
extra.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Hefty and short.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Like an Oompa Loompa. They're fucking grateful. They're like, oh my god, no one ever gives me this much attention.
Then they get hungry, though. That's the problem.
And there was this kind of like this idea that he's avoiding talking about Dick. He doesn't want to get into the Dick, so he decided to use Justin Wang to talk about Asterios, yada yada yada. Well, he has now fully went after Dick and has put his whole reply to Dick Masterson's 5-year attack, if you want to call it an attack. That's what Maddox calls it on Maddox, and Maddox has put a whole reply to it. 2 hours and 47 minutes long. He's still putting out content about it. He just uploaded like an hour-long thing, different chapters. It's insane. It's literally insane. And with me today, I have my buddy, Dick Masterson, expert of Now Recording, the huge fan who wants to suck Dick's dick. Mr.
No, I don't.
Mr. Mitch. Yes, you do. You told me behind the scenes you want to.
Fuck off. Jesus Christ. I bet it looks like grug.
Like, and also with me is this guy has, for some reason, the most encyclopedic knowledge on every like weird drama or anything going on. I don't know how his brain takes all of this in. With me as well is Tyrone, the birth controller. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? There's a lot to go over in this fucking video.
yeah, it's a fucking disaster of a video. Holy shit.
5 years in the making, exactly, by the way. It's like some screenshots in the video, and you'll probably go through this later. I'm like, oh, he said this new as he's going through it. So it's like Dick Masterson theorized that the day after the lawsuit was dismissed, that he started working on it, which makes sense because a lot of the information is now outdated.
Right. Exactly. Like, that's what Dick was saying. Dick was saying, like, as soon as the lawsuit was done, he went right into this, started working on that video. Is what
screenshots from then too.
Yeah. Before I've watched the video twice now. I took notes.
What the fuck, Matt?
Yeah.
How do you have time?
Mitch, let's talk about you real quick. Did you watch the whole video?
I watched half of it because, and this goes for any YouTuber that makes a video that is longer than Avatar 2, I'm not going to take it seriously. It's like, no, you need to fucking make this thing succinct. And the other thing I was going to say was he should have uploaded these chapters as individual videos over a few days each. He started doing that now.
He's doing it now.
He's uploaded the first chapter as an individual video where it's like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? It's already up.
Maddox has always been allergic to making money. It's like one of the chapters in this video has like 1 million N-words in there. I don't think he's even got monetized on it.
Yeah, there's no way he can monetize it.
No.
I've come to realization how autistic Maddox is, and he's literally like, he's almost like like when it comes to like Spurgs, he's kind of like one of the patient zeros of Spurgs if we think about it. It's crazy to me that he's been able to avoid being exposed as a Spurg for decades because he was so big back then. But I guess he could do it because you could kind of just be on your own little plane. And
he
not
was
have
so
to interact.
silent for such a long time, and now he's just completely going at everyone. The thing with Maddox is he's very slow. He has very overwhelmingly no social inhibition whatsoever. He never learns from any mistake, and he's stuck in this old lane of YouTube. Before YouTube was even created, back when Maddox was cool, back when he wrote the Alphabet of Manliness. He's still in that mind, but he also has disavowed his old stuff as well. So he's like trying to pander to like several different audiences throughout this entire video. He goes at a weird bunch of different crowds. Like I think he's trying to pander to Kiwi Farms. also in a certain part of this video.
Yeah,
specifically when he talks about Digibro.
Yeah,
It's just
panders
like-
to Kiwi farms, and then also panders to like the opposite of Kiwi farms. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah,
the both sides of the spectrum.
He's trying to get anyone to like care about any new information that may be granted to anyone. But it's just like, okay, it's just stuff with the Digibro stuff, for example. Dick Masterson, when he had a podcast with Dick Masterson, The Biggest Problem in the Universe, the original run, there was an entire podcast episode dedicated to like non-offending pedophiles, where it's a very similar take to Vito, and also someone who was on the Best Debate in the Universe, a regular contributor, after he knew he was arrested for CP distributing the bad hombre. You know, that person's actually like was a Digibro. Like, regardless of what, like, Digibro, I think is like a freak.
Yeah.
But Bad Hombre actually got arrested. Convicted pedophile Bad Hombre.
Yeah.
Maddox would have on his show.
I think
Maddox having sympathy for like not offending pedophiles? Like, oh, we should like give them big ups.
That was an
they
entire
don't act on
episode.
it.
That was an entire episode of the original of Biggest Problem, and it was just like, what the fuck? He's also said a bunch of like weird things as well. Like when he was telling like, you're making weird jokes. Maddox said this like really strange joke, but when he was younger, when he was a teenager, he wanted to have sex with a pregnant woman so he could fill the baby inside of it. You know?
Yeah, 2 for 1. That's what he said. A 2 for 1 deal.
What
but
the
the way he said it, it was like, and the way everything reads with Maddox now is that you go back retroactively, and it just seems like everything stupid he's ever said, it was just unintentionally funny. Because he presents it in a way where it's like, when I was a teenager, and he doesn't understand, he doesn't functionally understand really anything.
Well, I think what this is, right, is like for the past like 5 or 6 years, Dick Masterson, Dick Masterson has been going
the complete
on
opposite.
Dick Masterson has been going on this tour of like, listen, Maddox is fucking crazy. He's retarded. He does stupid things. He doesn't do the right thing. He doesn't know what to do in this situation. He's a man baby, and he's been doing this tour for years, right? And now Dick Masterson with this video gets to go. See, I fucking told you. Look at this fucking video. Look at it right now. Look what he's saying. Look at the crazy shit he's saying. I've been trying to tell you this for 5 years. This is it. This is fucking it. Like, you know, we get to see the evidence.
That's kind of what happened when they went after that Yo Mama guy, and Yo Mama had an anonymous caller call in, and it was a masked voice, and Dick's like, it kind of sounds like Maddox, and everyone, oh, Dick, you're crazy. Why are you always thinking about it? Turned out it was Maddox.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All you had to do was lower the pitch down, and it was Maddox's voice. And he's like, see, oh my God, I thought I was crazy.
Wait, give me some more context. So the Yo Mama guy, I've seen him before. You're talking about the dude who did the cartoons, right?
Yeah,
he's all he
went after Keemstar. And Maddox,
he went after Keemstar and Boblax. He started fucking buying memes to like shit on Boblax on Twitter. Like he started like trying to push that in. He's like, I'm gonna fucking put out memes against you and I'm gonna pay for it. And Boblax is like, I just make tweets. What the fuck are you talking about? I just read tweets. It's funny. So wait, so Yo Mama calls into Dick's show?
No. It doesn't call into Dick's show. He was doing his own thing, and Maddox submitted like, did he submit an audio file or something? He submitted something where he masked his voice talking about how Keemstar
it was presented
bad or
like an anonymous source at some fucking meeting of the minds, oracle that can't be unveiled. But it was like, he just go into any editing software and it's just Maddox. It's just the same.
He just lowered the pitch, so all you had to do was raise the pitch, which worked in the 90s when like no one had access to that kind of stuff. But now everyone has it, so it's like you've got to do way more. Like,
Dick was thinking that it was Maddox even from before hearing it, and people were like, "Oh, don't be crazy!" And then they lowered the pitch.
No, he heard it, and he's like, "That sounds like Maddox."
Yeah,
like it sounds like the way he talks and stuff.
The video was by Yo Mama. It was Keemstar uses incels to attack Hatry, and Maddox is granted on there to say basically call him a Nazi. I said this to you at the timestamp. This is pretty funny shit.
I had put out a bunch of feelers. I had sent out some messages. I said, hey, I want up-to-date information on Keemstar. And then I got 2 phone calls that would change everything.
He knows this about these people. He knows these are white nationalists. He knows these are racist people. And he's regularly associating himself with it.
That's hilarious. It's fucking
That's fucking hilarious.
He knows this about these people. He knows these are white nationalists. He knows these are racist people. And he's regularly associating himself with it.
I can hear it. I can hear Maddox. Holy shit. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so yeah. That's funny.
But no one thought it was Maddox except Dick. and everyone was calling Dick an obsessed, crazy person. And then when he turned out he was right, he was like, "Oh shit!" So yeah, what you were just saying about how Dick's like, "I told you," it just reminded me of that.
Yeah. Okay. Quick timeline. Just want to get through it real quick. So Maddox and Dick are good friends. They have a podcast. They create a podcast together sometime in 2013, 2014, something like that.
2014.
Yeah. The podcast continues 2 to 3 years, right? From 2013, 2014, 2015. And then in 2016, there's a situation. And this is Maddox's timeline. We've heard Dick's timeline before. This is Maddox's timeline. So on Maddox's timeline, it has nothing to do with the girlfriend whatsoever. Dick claims Maddox found out that Dick and the girl were 80s girl were dating, who used to date Maddox. And that Maddox freaked out about it and ended the podcast from there. Maddox claims Dick was caught lying and talking shit behind Maddox's back in 2016 in a Reddit thread, which I think he calls him like King Cuck or something like that, and says he's doing this for the fans. He's doing the podcast for the fans. Days later, after that, Maddox decides to end the podcast there. Dick agrees, and then days after they end the podcast, Randy, I guess, is the manager. Can someone give me more context on Randy? No? Okay.
No.
Randy gave Maddox the go-ahead to transfer the feed to Maddox, I guess. And then a few weeks after that, Dick claims Maddox deleted the website. Is there anything else you guys want to add there?
Okay, so essentially, not only is that timeline false, when those screenshots were originally confronted on Reddit, they were actually addressed. Maddox saw them when they came out, obviously, and he confronted Dick, and that was around episode 70. And this was before the entire ordeal ever occurred. What actually ended the podcast was immediately after he found out, he decided he was ending the podcast, doing a final episode with Asterios, and he didn't tell Asterios that this would be the final episode. He didn't even invite Dick Masterson whatsoever. So many fans were confused, like, why the fuck is this podcast ended? Why has Dick Masterson been replaced for the final episode? Asterios didn't even know it was going to be a final episode, and then they just completely go part ways and do their own show. No explanation whatsoever. These Reddit messages are old. The episode ended on 107, and those were around episode 70, which apparently they reconciled after that anyway.
Wait, so you're saying the messages on Reddit are old from way
episode
back?
70 of The Biggest Problem in the Universe. Yes, Dick claims that after those took place, that they talked and they hashed it out after that.
And okay, well then that totally throws Maddox's story out the window.
The other thing that confuses me about Maddox's story, with this Randy guy saying he got the go-ahead to transfer the feed, is that the feed was linked to Dick's iTunes account. So that doesn't make sense to me. Why a third guy would be involved
Randy
there.
under the bus. Randy was... I don't know much about Randy. All I know Randy is that he was involved in this podcast network, and he never threw Dick under the bus, ever. And because of that, I think Maddox just saw Randy as his enemy and decided to put all the blame on him here, because he's stuck on a few points that people have made videos on, more specifically the feed, redirecting the feed. So he's trying to disprove it by shoving it onto someone who has no involvement in the scene, who's probably never going to make a statement ever again, who never even threw anything who never threw anyone under the bus, and just got out. He was just a producer who worked on... He just worked for a few things, and he just put the feeds out there, basically. Dick says there's no way he would have had access to that because it was tied to his iTunes account.
Yeah, that to me is what I was saying. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, the video itself is it's weird how he portrays Dick, because I was doing some research on Dick, and the way Maddox portrays Dick is like Dick was a fanboy that was emailing him back in 2005, which, yeah, sure, he was probably a fan. He probably watched the website and stuff, but he was also kind of networking with him through editors and stuff, because Dick was becoming a writer.
Yeah, they had a mutual book editor.
Yeah,
didn't
and
they?
Dick wrote books.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I put in my video, so I hope that's true.
Dick went on Dr. Phil, right? Back in 2007 to promote his books, right? He was a writer. So it wasn't like some fanboy leeching off of fucking Maddox. He was doing his own thing. And I don't understand how this turns into oh, well, he was a fan and he was trying to just steal my limelight and he was doing this. It doesn't make sense, because Dick Masterson was trying to fucking begin his own career, and he was doing the things that he could to do it, and he had he had befriended Maddox, and they had a comedy troupe together or whatever at the Upright Citizens Brigade. Was it that?
Yeah, it was the UCB at UCB, which is the same one that Deaf Noodles would later work at, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's a famous. If it's Upright Citizens Brigade, it's a famous comedy troupe. I don't know if that's the same. I don't know if that's the same thing, but that's a if it's because if it's Upright Citizens Brigade, that's a famous comic troupe from the 90s, I believe. They used to do a sketch show on Comedy Central. I don't know if that's this. I don't know if that's related to that. I just kind of put that together. But yeah, so I don't know.
There's a few things here. Basically, on the whole thing of Dick being like the biggest fanboy, one of the things it's like, and I just remembered this right now. Throughout the entire video, Maddox makes a lot of assumptions because in order to really believe his plausible false narrative that he's probably constructed over the span of 5 years, not only do you have to like buy into all these assumptions he made, he presents something like he just found it now. This literally insert that he goes throughout the entire thing, the Maddox blast that he has this entire transition that was advised by his editor. That wasn't Dick's decision. Their editor that they shared advised him to do that to promote the book. It's like a common thing. It's like a literary insert.
Yeah, and it was like, it was used to make as much money for Maddox as possible because he could put his name on something and get a percentage of these books and not have to do anything. It was used to help Maddox. You know?
Yeah, but Maddox just has like no understanding and claims like he was such a good fan of me. He wrote this entire like good review out of the kindness of his heart. It's like, no, that's not what that is. It's literally insert. Maddox not only makes a lot of assumptions, he seems allergic to making money. So any forms on like the economic side, he just completely goes with. Like for example, when they would do the full episodes, they would do a bonus show, and you would pay for the bonus show. It used to be $2.99. For a bonus episode, because this was back in 2014. You'd buy each individual bonus episode by itself. However, someone emailed Maddox and basically said, oh, wait, if you buy a bunch of all the episodes, it's cheaper than just buying one individually. Like per one, it would be cheaper if you would just if you would buy all the episodes in a pack, and rather it'd be cheaper. Then that guy said, that doesn't make any sense. Why shouldn't they be the same price? Maddox agreed and made them both the same price, which doesn't make any sense. Like, you know,
he's been like that since the start. Even with his website in the late 90s, he bragged that he didn't put ads on it.
Yeah, he bragged about he didn't have any commercialization whatsoever. And Dick has like a background in SEO, so there's some things where he's saying like, "Hey, I'm trying to help you out of SEO. What's your limit?" It's like no porn ads, no gambling ads.
And he tries to twist that as like Dick being like the skeevy like porn porn guy, you know. Who's going to put malware ads on or something like that, you know?
That's fucking unbelievable.
Did you guys love how... did you guys love...
Is that
like,
because
when,
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys love when Dick or Maddox was showing the Dick tweets about Dick tweeting about Maddox? He shows the years, but he shows them from like present to earlier. So like to make it look like there's an incline, when in reality there's
the last 2 years.
There's in reality there's a massive decline in tweets about Maddox. Not only that, the years that Dick tweets about Maddox the most is the years he's being sued by Maddox. So of course he's gonna tweet about the guy.
And it has this like sound where it's like, and higher, and then his like weird comparison where it's like it's even bigger than the Pantheon if you would stack all of them on top of each other. It's like Maddox. It's just like this is Maddox's like comedy. It's just like saying stuff like this. It's just how he thinks. Because how he thinks is like brain dead and retarded. It doesn't make any sense. So he just says how he thinks, and just people laugh because it's so stupid. And he's just like, he marvels at himself like he's a comedic genius. Yeah. And no, he's always been slow. He's always just made assumptions about everything. He's never been particularly intelligent. Maddox, there was a story on the original Biggest Problem. I think it might have been towards the end when Maddox did an IQ test. And he got like around average. I believe the score was like 107. He couldn't believe this though. He thought it would be much higher. He thought he's like above all the other people. And he asked Dick, "Well, why was there no pop culture questions on an IQ test?"
What do you think? You're fucking Quentin Tarantino? Like,
this is Maddox who's like went to college for like a mathematics degree, who failed 4 times and then never finished it. You know, he really wanted that maths degree. Yeah, he just never did it.
Why didn't they ask me about Robert De Niro and the Goodfellas? I would have killed it then. You know? Yeah. I like the twisting he does with stuff. Like, there's a couple times he twists a lot of. By the way, a lot of times when he shows the screenshots of the dick tweets, he shows multiple of the same screenshot. If you slow it down, you'll see the same screenshot pop up like 2 or 3 times. But it goes up to make it look like there's 10. When in reality, there's maybe like 6, 7, maybe. But there's multiple screenshots. At one point, he talks about a neighbor that Dick was like allegedly harassing to get on the show. But what he doesn't show, and Dick showed this on his Patreon, is that the neighbor was replying to Maddox. It was trying to get Maddox to stop, like doing this crazy back and forth or whatever. So like there's a lot of examples of how he twists things. Another one is the whole Dick stealing jokes, the Al Bundy joke, which is not it's not an Al Bundy joke. It's been a joke for 50 fucking years. It was on Cheers. It's like the women can't live with them. It's women can't live with them, can't live without them. But instead of saying can't live without them, you don't say anything.
That's been a joke since the caveman days.
Yeah,
like,
and the funniest thing is Maddox tries to like crawl into fucking H Bomber guy's comment section because he recently done this like big documentary on plagiarism and says like, I liked your video. Would you like to check out my video? It covers a plagiarism. And it has currently
he's like stuck in a time warp
like.
because that's the shit you would do in the 2000s.
Yeah. Hey, you know that great video you did where you destroyed this one guy to the point where he's left YouTube? I'm trying to do that too. Why don't you watch my video?
Yeah,
How about you watch?
I think that currently has like 30,000 comments or something. Maddox's comment has 1 like.
Well, no, and it's like, well, if you think about it, right? Maddox's argument against Justin Wang was ridiculous. We showed this on Shot from the Point. He's doing like this is how he plagiarized, but then you see Justin Wang not plagiarizing, like not saying it verbatim, not saying it word for word, just fucking paraphrasing and fucking summarizing stuff, doing research, like it's fucking hilarious.
The entire fucking Justin Wang video was just swinging to stereos.
It was a bait and switch.
Yeah, because it was just like, and he hangs around this male feminist who is like, and then just switches into fucking Asterios when most people just do not know who Asterios is, because Asterios is another like old comedian who does a pretty bad job at marketing himself. He has like 1 million podcasts that are all on like these weird sites like Podbeam or whatever. Like if you type in Asterios on fucking YouTube, you see a boxing match he had with a Reddit moderator, for fuck's sake. And that's what comes out.
Yeah. Also, did you see like Maddox obsessing over his Wikipedia page, and how it was spammed with like Dick Masterson stuff? You can tell that how Maddox thinks how important he is. Like, who gives a fuck about your dude? Nobody knows who you are except for like small internet niche people. I had no idea who Maddox was. And I'm in my mid-30s, no clue who the fucking guy was.
No, there are some people who are on the internet for a long time, who are around your age, Matt, who do know who Maddox is, which is weird. It's like they know who Maddox is only from his website. They never knew he did a podcast. They just know the name Maddox because he had some weird things. Like he was on like Penn and Teller had this like weird show called like Bullshit.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And they made fun of Maddox, and like it's like, you may have heard of this website, but fucking whatever. And they just made fun of Maddox for a while. And also, Maddox does this weird thing where he assumes this level of intimacy with like a lot of people that he's only talked to once. On the old show, he would always talk about, well, I've got a good friend, and he always introduce like a good friend of someone he's probably met once. And additionally, in this video, he talks about the Penn and Teller bullshit episode on him, and he said, me and Penn have since buried the hatchet. What the fuck? No,
bro.
Fucking Maddox, he's dressed up as a banana for the past 6 years. Fucking, I don't can talk to Penn. I don't
think he gives a fuck who you are, dude. Oh man, and there's one point where he obviously when they were burning Maddox's books, right, and they're doing a funny meme, like a book burning meme, basically burn Maddox's books. He compares that to literal Nazis. He compares that to the Nazis. Like that I can tell just by looking at it, they're making fun of like people burning books because they're mad at the person, or like burning the Nike stuff, whatever. I could see that. He goes the extra mile to be like, oh, you see, what else? Who else burnt books? I don't know. Maybe it was Hitler?
Well, the whole thing was basically, that was the alphabet of manliness. And he edited out a lot of fucking, he disavowed so many things. He used to have a section like C for Copperfield and stuff like this.
Yeah.
He disavowed that later in his career when he was releasing fucking like his book Fuck Whales censored. because he was trying to get it. He was trying to get it like fucking because he thought, okay, it's like 2017, 2018. I'm gonna try and get a book deal when I'm like a nobody on the internet now. All my internet power is gone. Like he had this one book, The Alphabet of Madness. They got to #1 on the comedy books in the New York Times. Pretty big deal. You can never do that again. You do not have that audience whatsoever now. So he has to disavow it to get it published. He just had no spine, no anything, and that book didn't fucking sell anything anyway because it was shit.
Why doesn't he
It was
just
reused
self-publish?
material.
I mean, I know why he doesn't, because no one would buy it anyway. But there's always that option.
Yeah, I don't get it. I've heard that he used to be like this very machismo guy who had this character that would say horrible things and stuff. Dick also claims that Maddox used to like anyone who would like try to like shit on him or something. He'd like post their name and shit. Now this is alleged. This is what Dick said. Is like he would dox people, right? He'd do shit like that. So
on his Facebook, he definitely would do that.
Yeah.
Because when he would do his Facebook, he would look for his Facebook photos and he would say like, "You seem real funny here, standing next to your wife," or whatever. He would just go through their Facebook. It'll be like really amateur because he would just for a long time because he's so old. He'll just go on Facebook so old. This is like 2013, 2014, right before the fucking biggest problem started. Because back in the day, before he revealed his face, before Maddox did his face reveal, and he just looked like that one really old image of like Elon Musk, like balding or whatever the fuck. You might have seen. Maddox had that same profile picture of like the Che Guevara pirate, like the biggest pirate on the internet, and like, no one knew his voice, no one knew what he looked like. But then when you realize, the big shit talker is this tall, lanky, bold Armenian guy, a bald-headed liar who looks pretty ill and sick and not in the best of health, and like brags about how he's like a better human than you because he cycles everywhere and stuff like that. It kind of loses the appeal, you know? It's
exactly. I got a note here. Maddox shows Dick going after a bunch of Maddox's sponsors, but one of the sponsors he uses as an example is Candid. And I was going to ask this because didn't Candid get exposed for something for like alleged stealing data or something? Or
So essentially, what the Candid situation is very, very long situation, but the short of it is that it was set up as a startup from Silicon Valley itself to harvest data for further Silicon Valley products, and that data has now been used in actual Google-related software in China, for example, that they use from Candid. So you would think people who are pro-free speech would have a moral reservation about publishing this and being like a big fan of this. People that promoted Candid were people like Sargon Ricard, Sean Head, Armored Skeptic, and they would say, "Get on here. It's like 4chan, but it's like it's a new app. It's a freedom of speech app. You can do anything you want. You can say anything you want." And all this guy Harmful Opinions did back in the day is that he found a hidden web page because he just typed in about, and there was an about page that wasn't actually listed on the website. You had to type /about manually. And then he found out, wait, it's based in Silicon Valley. I'm going to talk and see videos of the executive, and the executive had openly said her ambitions from the first place, and had basically said like she wants people from these inherent communities, from this like Nazi community, to inherently be on there, so we know how to censor them in the future.
Right.
But no one, but from that fucking community. And then people interviewed Harmful Opinions, including Sargon Ricard, who had a very bad interview with him because he said like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, Harmful, and would just inherently dismiss the claims. He would still support Candid inherently. So then, the entire thing of Candid would inherently just persist, but it went over to so many people, and they're getting so much money from this Candid thing. They signed this NDA, so people like Armored Skeptic couldn't even talk about it for like years as well. That would be like 3 years that you couldn't even fucking talk about Candid. Because as soon as people found out, they wanted, some people probably wanted to do videos on it, because they were talking to Harmful, whose original channel now is unfortunately deleted, but you could see in his comment section there was a bunch of like YouTubers, I think like Teal Deer, a lot of like people who were tertiary to the Skeptic community back in the day were saying like they reached out to him privately about the Candid situation. But it all comes back then, and Harmful would have Dick would have Harmful on his show a lot of times during this entire ordeal. And even now, in the latest episode of the Dick Show, he has like a reading from Harmful Opinion in his like erotic stories for erotic men. It's read by Harmful Opinions, that same guy who's like on the show then.
Right. So yeah, I was thinking like with all that shit with Candid, wasn't that like could he be like trying to twist the narrative and use Candid as an example when everybody was like shitting on Candid and going
Yes.
after Candid? So yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
he
figuring
was
was
the
happening.
person who gave the best faith interview of harmful opinions, and that clip used to be on the Dick Show YouTube, and it used to be one of the most viewed things. But that unfortunately that got taken down now.
Yeah,
I think
'cause
that
the channel's
the episode obviously exists, but
Mhm.
the clip being of full footage is probably pretty hard to find unless you go all the way back in the Patreon archive and find the one
Yeah.
of harmful opinions.
Right. Gotcha.
But yeah.
So
that interview definitely does.
yeah. There was a huge chapter on doxing, and I will say this is the one that kind of was like, oh, this is a little weird, and but it seems more like an example of the fan base. You know, the fan base taking things too far. You know, Dick talks about a billboard, Starbucks. It just gets a little weird, but it's plausible that the content creators at that time, they don't really think about fans triangulating locations and weird shit like that in that moment. And that being said, there's things like you can criticize Dick for here, but I will also add the caveat that although this can be taken out of context and misdirected, and that Maddox is not a reliable narrator at this point. So what I'm saying is I really think I would want to hear Dick's side of the story in this situation, because I do not trust Maddox's narration, because
Yes.
is
this about the Starbucks drive-through?
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't trust Maddox's narration, because he proved in the beginning of the documentary on Dick that he is not a reliable narrator whatsoever, and he's willing to twist everything. And you could make the argument that this is like him giving Dick his own medicine, but I don't know. I think this whole thing I don't understand. I do want to point out something from Ben from Drunken Peasants, who is a friend. Drunken Peasants are a friend in our recording. Ben was not aware that he was, so just for a little context, they did a live show with Dick Masterson, a bunch of the Dick co-hosts, and they did a live reading. Ben was there. He did a live reading of Maddox's like banned words that he gave to Ben when he went on Drunken Peasants. So when you can have it will ban words from the chat, right? It'll ban words from the chat.
One of them was like his address, not his address, but like his location or something.
Scrambled up.
Yeah, it was scrambled up, and it didn't make sense. So so Ben was not aware of what he was reading, because he was reading like N-word, this, that, and then he reads like a home like a road, and he's like, and then there's like, there's some numbers here too, and you can see in the faces of like fucking the editor or the sound engineer guy and fucking the girl that went to Maddox's house, that you can see their face change because they know what just happened.
They're like,
yeah, exactly. But it should be pointed out that they censored it. They took it out of when it was uploaded, and they didn't like what Maddox is trying to say is like, they just read my address just like that. They just read it, and it's like, well, no, they didn't try to bring any attention to it. Is what happened. They tried to just like, all right, well, let's just move on. Don't say anything. Move on. And I don't think Ben said that maliciously.
Yeah, so the only people that really heard it were the people live in attendance, and it's not like they figured it out, because
live in attendance, and then unfortunately there was like someone recording it, so that's where I guess Maddox got the footage from. But but it just should be pointed out it was cut out of that version. So Dick at the very least took the measures to like try to protect the sensitive information on that episode from getting out. Tyrone, you got any opinions on that stuff?
Well, the doxing, not really. It's just a bit ridiculous overall. There's a lot of really preventable mistakes from Maddox himself that he just inherently gives out. There's also to do with doxing just slightly. There is like a weird part where he talks about just people like raiding his room, because his room has been posted like with the Dragon Quest slime, like a Takara Toriyama. Like,
it was a real estate listing.
Yes, and like a lot of people have seen this photo just go around the internet, and he claims that photo was like doxing him when it was like a photo on like a real estate listing itself.
Oh yeah,
of the room of like Maddox fucking having the slime poster of it.
Yeah. See, I think my issue, right, with Maddox's this whole video is some of Maddox's points could be presented in like a structural form, and he could make this compelling argument against Dick Masterson. However, the malicious route Maddox took of trying to showcase Dick in the worst light possible really hinders his argument. And it gets even worse when he compares Dick Masterson to the woman who murdered famous Hispanic singer-songwriter Selena. Selena was murdered by a fan that she had befriended and started doing business with. And Selena realized that this fan was embezzling money from her, so she fired her. And so the fan decided, well, if I can't be with Selena, I can't be with anyone else, so I'm going to kill her. And he compares that to Dick Masterson. Like, it's so hyperbolic and so ridiculous. And that's why I think he's not a reliable narrator. And then you take the fact that he's like, oh, and he wears the same clothes as me. And it's a fucking Twitch shirt. It's a Twitch t-shirt, dude. Like, like
Dick was partnered on Twitch for a while as well.
Yeah.
So,
like Maddox is literally insinuating that Dick wanted to kill him. Like, he's insinuating, he shows images of Dick like buying guns, and Dick's obviously making some shitty jokes about Maddox and stuff.
Well, I think you could insinuate that Maddox wants to kill Dick because it's like at the end of it, he's like making this call to action to almost any lawyer, but it's like, what is he actually trying to get him arrested for? Like, what does he actually want done? Like, he wants him away forever. It seems. It's like, what does that mean? Away forever?
Well, he did try to attempt to financially murder him in court for $380 million.
$360 million.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about my favorite part of the documentary real quick.
Oh no.
The N-word section.
I
think this is Maddox's strongest argument. I think it's the strongest argument. All right. One of the podcasters that was doing a show on Maddox's network called a black man the N-word as a very edgy joke. This joke was not made on any sort of podcast related to Madison's network, but nonetheless, Dick and etc. came at it full force like they smelled blood in the water. Now, I guess you can make the argument that Dick was subjected to Maddox's virtue signaling and lambastings and was simply trying to give Maddox his own medicine. But either way, I don't think it's right. Even if it's revenge, I don't think it's right. And I'll be honest with you. I think the guy who said the N-word kind of got the shit end of the stick in this situation. But the best part of that, my favorite part of this video is the reveal of Dick singing the N-word.
Have you ever seen that? It's one of his songs he did like 10 years ago.
It's a Mel Gibson rap. I'm guaranteed it's a Mel Gibson rap.
Yes, it's if Mel Gibson made John Lennon's Imagine. I think that's what the video is called.
Yeah. But the podcaster in question that said the N-word is Pot Awful. I'm sure you guys are familiar
that guy.
With. Yeah. So
he's got an awesome podcast set, but he scares the shit out of me.
But yeah, so he kind of but Pot Awful did this funny bit with Nick Rekieta where like they found Nick Rekieta doing blackface, and Pot Awful bought like a little dummy of Nick Rekieta in blackface, and Nick Rekieta went on and was like, "Oh, that's funny, ha ha ha." So yeah, I don't know. Pot Awful's always hated. Pot Awful hated Dick for a while. I think they had the huge fight, but I think everything's kind of calmed down between those guys lately. So
that's good.
So I don't know.
Is it safe to follow him again? I had to unfollow him like a while ago because he posted pornography with like someone's face photoshopped on it, and it was like hardcore. And I was like, I can't have that on my feed.
I don't know, dude. Follow at your own risk. Any opinions on the whole N-word thing, Tyrone?
Well, there is a part of essentially the N-word where he's doing all the screenshots of the N-word. A lot of them aren't actually Dick Masterson, where it says his fans. Do you know what one of them was? It's not Dick Masterson's fans. It was Maddox's fans. This guy called Mr. Burgers, who would like, I'm pretty sure would have like pretty severe autism. And
maybe
one of these screenshots, with a name like Mr. Burgers, you could tell. Yeah. But he would always he would have mental breakdowns, he was an interesting person. And he would like follow around like the best debate in the universe. And I think to the tail end of the original run of Biggest Problem. And he would say stuff like, "Oh, I'm sorry for doing this. I'm sorry for doing this." And then just say like awful stuff. Just say the N-word and stuff like this. And Maddox calls this guy Dick's fan when Maddox loved Mr. Burgers. He loved having Mr. Burgers around. He was like a freak show back in the day. It's like not attached to like Dick Masterson whatsoever. So when he's saying and his fans, it's like he just uses a bunch of like Mr. Burgers screenshots.
What you don't understand is it used to be cool to say the N-word, but it's not cool anymore, and I disavow.
One of because Maddox has such like a moral outrage. The entire video is like trying to claim on a moral outrage to 10 different groups. One of his favorite things to say, which is something different, even in the alphabet of man list, was like get raped. That was what he would always say on like original run.
That's how the rape list started, right? That's
it was his catchphrase.
It was his catchphrase.
Yeah,
and that's how the rape list began.
Yeah, on Biggest Problem, like when people do voicemails, it would be like, get raped, or whatever, on the original run. And it was kind of funny. But then he kind of swings it from like nowhere. But the rape list itself is an entirely different ordeal that he tries to present. I mean, there's a lot of things on the.
It had its own chapter with its own graphic and everything.
The rape list.
So like the rape list was made on an 8chan board of women that in the 8chan board it was like women who deserved to be R-worded, and Maddox tried to tie it to Dick, and I think that seems unfair. People who actually made that post would come out later and say it was them and that they were massive Dick fans, which Maddox uses as like this W because. To him, that ties it to Dick. When in the screenshot of them admitting to it, they specifically say they don't know Dick personally. This is another example.
The reason they apologized is because at this point, Maddox made the original rape list video and got him fired from UCB, lost him all the contacts and all his friends from around LA, like fucking dismissed him entirely. And that's the reason why they came out and apologized. Because originally, what the rape list was, it was actually pretty fucked. It was a woman who had appeared on the Dick show. Basically.
I got the notes here for that. Yeah, good one. You go ahead.
Yeah, a woman who appeared on the Dick show in the first kind of like 20 episodes or so.
Yeah.
She was like a model. She had an actual stalker who she had to get an restraining order against, who would do like really fucked things.
Yeah.
Dick thinks maybe the person who started the rape list could have been that guy because she was the first person posted on that rape list, and then like the next people were people like Kermit the Frog. And the reason
Did you watch the same thing I watched?
Yeah.
Because I got these notes verbatim.
I did my research. What
me too.
But fucking. The funny thing is, with the entire 8chan board itself, because what 8chan is inherently like what it is, because he tries to say like, I never went to a URL and typed in 8chan. I only like clicked on the link of it, which is believable because for a long time you couldn't type in 8chan and come up on ClearNet. You'd have to use through a Tor browser. You couldn't just type it in. Because what the whole thing of it is, it's like 4chan, but you can create your own boards, which is like a separate thing itself. And
which
the
is
person
terrifying.
Yes, and there's a lot of fucked shit on there, and that's why it's not on the ClearNet. I don't advise anyone to go on there because it's fucked, right?
Yeah.
But do you know who advised against starting the 8chan board itself? Not the rape list, but just the board Dick show on the 8chan board, because there was a Reddit thread. You know, there's Reddit. You know, there's a Dick show Reddit. There's a Dick show Twitter.
So you're asking who advised against it?
Who advised for it? Apparently,
who advised for it? Well, I would
say... It was Null. It was Null.
Okay.
Null from Kiwi Farms, who you may think actually hates Dick now, was actually a big fan of him, and even on his... he was even using his payment processor after Null got banned from all his payment processors.
Right.
And Null supported himself using Dick Masterson's payment processor, like alternative payment processors methods that he's came up with recently, in the last 2 years. Which is pretty funny. It was like New Product 2, and then after that got silenced because inherently it was due to it was due to the banking system itself. Then he did one entirely for the blockchain, which was back.buy, which Noel used for a short period of time to fund his servers going down against Kefals. But Noel kind of had a mental breakdown himself because of how because one of the things Dick Masterson does with like anyone that's kind of funny on the internet, he says like, oh yeah, I'm the biggest fan, so they will come on his show and he can have like an insane moment where they will like break down or say something like, you know, it's a good tactic, right? So people like Nick Fuentes come on. If you hear Dick's politics, you would realize they're very different to actually Nick Fuentes' politics.
Exactly, yeah.
So this is a tactic he does, and I believe he's doing the same thing with Kefals. But Noel didn't see it like that, and he completely turned on him after that. So that's like the reason that Noel kind of hates him now.
Yeah, fair enough. I always just kind of saw Dick as more provocateur. Like he's going to interact with the Nick Fuentes because they're interesting and they're kind of edgy, and that doesn't mean he totally buys everything that's coming out of Nick Fuentes' mouth. He just thinks he's funny, and it's like Howard Stern. Howard Stern would have these fucking KKK guys on to come
David
on. And
Duke.
yeah,
You'd
exactly.
have
Yeah, and they'd say crazy shit. It would be content. It would be funny. Like people, the generations have changed with the way things work now.
Yeah,
People
I remember
used to
you'd have
love
the
stuff
one where
like
you had
that.
Beetlejuice and David Duke on. He had
Yeah.
to answer questions. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
like fucking cool.
Nowadays,
It would be
like
cool
if you're
to
in the
have.
same room as somebody, it's like, oh, you must agree with them.
Look,
and
if you
everything
get
that they've
And
ever
then, like,
said.
Yeah.
in the last 10 years, it's gone from not only do you have to have like an arbitrary disclaimer at the first part, so if anyone fucking clicks on the video, you know you're not directly endorsing it, so that which ruins any satire or parody that possible. Now you have
Right.
to openly disavow them at all times, otherwise you're
Exactly.
going to get flagged down. It's
Yeah.
just why it's no fun.
Yeah, exactly. So going towards 80s girl, all right. I think I found something interesting. I found a discrepancy. All right.
Sure.
And I could be wrong here, but Maddox claimed in his video when Dick said that Maddox and 80s girl broke up, it was Dick was saying it was 3 to 4 years after the breakup when they started dating, but Maddox says that's bullshit. It was actually only a year and a half.
Whoa,
but
that
then-
changes everything.
But then he states that Maddox and 80s girl broke up for the last time in November of 2013. Now the podcast broke up in 2016. If we go by Maddox's story, then we would find out that he would find out about 80s girl dating Dick after the podcast. That's Maddox's story. So if that's the case, and they broke up, the podcast broke up in 2016, and then Maddox broke up with his girlfriend for the last time in 2013, that would make it 3 years, which makes
Yes.
Well,
Dick right.
I'm going off memory, but I think the wedding that Dick and 80s girl were seen spotted leaving together, I think that was October 2015. So
I believe
that would
so.
be 2
But,
years.
but if you go by Maddox's timeline, it's 3 years because he says he doesn't find out that they're dating until after the podcast broke up. So that's what I'm saying.
That was okay. So that happened around. Okay, so I believe, and I'm kind of skittish on the entire details here, but I believe Mitch is correct when the wedding that they attended was around October, which would put it obviously around again episode 76 of the original Run of Biggest Problem, right after this initial confrontation on all these like you fucking backstabbing me. Dick assured Maddox asked him, did anything happen? And Dick said, no, of course not. It's like, why? Nothing happened, basically. And
Which is what you would
Maddox-
say if something
Yes.
hadn't happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You wouldn't
And
just tell
Maddox
your
just
friend,
believed
yeah, I'm
this.
sorry, I
Maddox just
absolutely
believed
raw
this,
dogged
like,
your
straight
ex.
up, because at this point, these screenshots already persisted. Dick didn't really like being there, but he'd kind of buried the hatchet because he had already went off stuff. He had been lectured from like, oh yeah, you need to like mind your business about like impropriety and how bad that looks if you go home together. And he got lectured after this, and he was like, fuck this, I'm just doing this for the fucking paycheck.
He didn't want to look like a cuck, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's what he was worried about doing, and then he
Maddox revealed. This is the first time I've seen a picture of 80s girl because of Maddox's video, and now having seen her for the first time, I completely understand why Maddox lost his goddamn mind and did all the things he did. I completely, utterly understand and sympathetic towards him now because she's not as fun.
But yeah, at that point in October of 2015, Maddox sincerely thought that Dick Masterson just drove her home, and that's all that happened. Keep in mind that it's not like he's with her or anything. So he's his ex-girlfriend at this point, by the way. But yeah, then Dick says, and why the dates kind of change, is that Dick says on things that, yeah, they did kind of start dating after that, like, immediately, but Maddox only found out right before the podcast ended, and that's why he didn't invite him over and invited in Asterios instead. And Asterios didn't even realize it would be the final episode on 107.
Gotcha. Yeah, so, wow. All of this is insane to me. So what you're saying is it was the 80s girl is the reason why the podcast broke up. There's
It's always
there's
because of women.
Yeah, there's no other way.
Yes.
There's no other way, and this is a
If
3-hour
we learned
cope.
anything from Greece, of
Yeah.
classic Greek tragedy, it's that every classic tragedy involves a woman in some way, including the end of Biggest Problem in the Universe, the original run.
Yeah.
And again, it's understandable. Maddox,
Oh.
if you're listening, at some point, I haven't done it yet, but at some point before I die, I'm going to jerk off to a picture of your ex-girlfriend. The picture that you put up that I assume you chose because you think this is how she looks bad. This is a picture of her where she looks ugly. She still looks hot as fuck. So I can only imagine how hot she has the potential to be.
All right, Mitch, you're going to keep this in the episode. I'm going to timestamp it. I'm going to send it to Dick Masterson. I'm going to send it to Dick Masterson.
Okay, now that, because I am editing the episode, if I do leave it in, that just shows the balls that I have.
Yeah, well, you're leaving it in. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's either balls or stupidity.
Another thing, right? All right, so one of the letters, like Mitch, I remember you telling me about this. Dick reads a letter that was written to by Maddox 280's girl on a live show as like for a funny bit. I guess Dick's girlfriend decides to call the where 80's girl works after that and fucking try to get her fired or something like that. What the fuck is up with that?
I don't know the timeline of him doing that, but yeah, I thought it wasn't Maddox. I thought it was the girl that Maddox was seeing.
Yeah.
His new girlfriend rings up his ex-girlfriend's place of work and tries to get her fired.
Yeah.
Mental Jess, wasn't it?
Yeah, mental Jess. Because I think her Twitter,
That's an
she was
easy
like a
nickname to
model as
remember,
well. Because she was like called Metal Jess on Twitter, on like Twitter or Instagram or something. So everyone just called her Mental Jess because she tried to like go forward to fucking because 80's girl was like a teacher and get her fired from her fucking teaching job. But I think that happened before the Maddox the letter.
It happened before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Okay, then maybe I'm misremembering because I thought that was like the catalyst for why she called. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong then. Then what was the reason why she called?
He didn't find the letter and then read it out immediately. Like there was build up to it.
Yeah. But what was the reason why this Jess person called? Because they were because the fans were doxing Maddox or something?
Do women need a reason to be stupid?
Was it the rape list?
I think it's very obviously like pressured
the rape list.
Maddox. Right?
I think it was the rape list.
Yes, I think it was because so after all this stuff was put on the rape list, basically Maddox found it and all this stuff, and after Maddox did that, a picture of Mental Jess appeared on the fucking rape list.
Yeah.
And I think after that, Maddox convinced his then girlfriend Mental Jess to go to 80's girls' school because she was associated in dating Dick Masterson.
Okay,
I think that's.
all right. So in that video, Maddox claims he had no idea she was doing it, and basically, in a weird way, kind of disavows her, I guess. So if what you're saying is true, Tyrone, then he's completely lying. Because, okay. So there you go. One of my favorite parts of this documentary, though, is
I just want to stress this on the rape list as well.
Yeah.
And on the rape list, so there was probably on the rape list, which is pretty fucked to be honest. There was the image of the woman. The actual real woman, then there was Kermit the Frog and all these fucking memes. And then after Maddox made the video, got him fired from UCB, someone just put her image on there as like a fuck you to Maddox, basically. And that's like, they apologized after they did that as well, to Dick. And it's like fucking, and Maddox tries to twist it's like, oh, he endorsed what he did because he sent them a fucking t-shirt or whatever. It's like, no, it's...
no, not at all. Yeah, there was a lot of times where he's trying to twist Dick in the worst light possible in the sense that at one point like Maddox or Dick is trying to do this thing with Onision. He's trying to do this bit like, Onision, come on, 17-year-old girls, I don't blame you. And Onision's like, wait, what? No, what are you talking about? Dick's like, come on. And it's obvious he's doing a bit, and like Maddox tries to like basically try to twist that into like Dick being sus, I guess. I don't know, like stuff like that. He shows articles that Dick wrote because there were sources. It was actual thesis instead of the.
Do you know what's funny about those? It's like he's like, oh, this is his fucking warped conclusion. The entire point of Men Are Better Than Women is that you can basically manipulate any conclusion while using real data.
Yes,
and it's how easy data can be manipulated. That's the entire point of that book. Yeah, that's the entire point because it's just sort of like a flashy title, like Men Are Better Than Women, but you read it and it's like presented with real study, but the studies are taken out of context. It's for parody because he used to operate menarbetterthanwomen.com, and the people that would like come to it basically are all women who never read the book and leave voicemails, and you can still go to menabetterthanwomen.com and see the voicemails. And
Right.
back then he would talk like his Dr. Phil character and read the voicemails and like respond to them. And the way he would respond to them is citing his own like bogus statistics and things that they would obviously never look into, but they would never have a response to it. And that would be the thing.
Yeah.
Because the only people who are ever going to get outraged over something like that are people too dumb to actually fact check the material.
Exactly.
And that's a joke.
Yeah, and like Dick was playing a character, right? He was doing the Dr. Phil shit too, right? And going like he's basically being Andrew Tate. Like what Andrew Tate is now, Dick was.
Andrew Tate stole a lot from Dick Masterson, but Andrew Tate's kind of retarded because he actually embraces the attack himself.
He's for real, and he ended up in fucking jail. Not only that, but from a miniature woman.
Yeah. Also, I was about to say. Also, Dick Masterson didn't actually go try to pimp women out. So I mean,
and it's like, and also there was like a lot of things. There was a weird part where Dr. Phil had like a few people in a house, including Dick Masterson. And Dick Masterson was like the only like normal person there playing a character, and he's introduced as, and I can assure you that this person is being 100% serious, as he was introducing Dick Masterson. It's complete deadpan delivery, just sold it completely. Just so many people bought it, and that's the original clip where some like overweight woman asks him, where it's like, because he says, I've got a line of women up to date me, and it's like, well, I wouldn't be anywhere near that line, and he responds with a quick retort, well, maybe if you got the treadmill, you'll be near the front.
There was another fucking great clip when he was in the Dr. Phil house when I can't remember what Dick said exactly, but something like, "Oh, you don't need to like do this thing to know it's bad. Like, you don't need to eat dog crap to know that it tastes bad." And this woman goes, "What makes you think I haven't eaten dog crap?" And he goes, "Well, you probably."
So one of my favorite parts of the Maddox crazy videos is he insinuates that Dick chose Vito because Vito is way more famous than Dick, while it's obviously known that Dick has been way more successful than Vito. And this is no offense to Vito,
and
but Vito,
still to this day,
Vito went on our podcast, I think, or he went on Shot for the Point. I can't remember, to say like I'm doing biggest problem in the universe because Dick is incredibly successful, and I want to be successful like Dick. I want to be as rich as Dick, you know. So like he said stuff like that. So just because their numbers aren't
there's some weird things where it's like, it's kind of debatable in a weird sense. If you type in like SEO and on Google Trends, there are certain things that Vito Custodi, or Vito in general, I mean, Vito is just more of a general term, but Vito Custodi, especially after the Chappelle riots, it was all focused on the Chappelle protest. More so riot for Dick Masterson's forehead. It was all focused on Vito. Vito was the front man. He was the front and center, even though Vito and Dick both went there together. He's on all the promotional. He's interviewed on all this thing. He went on InfoWars about it, Vito. Like, all the thing is there about him. The Belle Delphine's bathwater stuff, all these like really big sensationalist articles use the term Vito Custodi. And if you type in, that's usually what you come up and find, as well as like all the weird Star Wars videos he made that has a few million views. So in this like weird sense of virality, a lot of people do know the name Vito from like the Chappelle riots and from a few other things, but from like actually like Patreon, a base and like subscriber following. And Dick Masterson has like one of the most loyal followings. On the internet.
Actual monetary success.
I think when it comes to like,
the biggest problem is paying Vito's rent, whereas Dick owns his house.
Yeah, exactly. In LA, in California, in Southern California. Yeah, no, exactly. My point is just like, there's no, like, Vito is not like the epitome of fame that, and Dick is trying to latch on to Vito. Like, no, this is, look, no offense to Vito, I love Vito, but Dick threw Vito a fucking
like bone. Vito feels like he's one of us, but he just gets a lot of views. But in terms of where he's at in life, he's in the exact same fucking spot.
Yeah, he's just trying, except, well, he's not one of us.
Like, he's struggling to get by like the rest of us. I'm sorry, Vito, as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You fingered your cat, for God's sake.
Yeah, but this whole thing, right, with this documentary, and the thing that bothers me the most about this thing is, yes, people talked about Maddox a lot from like 2016 to 2018 when that fucking when the fucking court case and the lawsuit when all that was going on. There, he was being tweeted about constantly. He was probably being harassed by crazy people. He was being doxxed. Like, I do not take any of that away from him. But my point is, it all died down. it all died down. I had not heard about
Yeah.
Maddox. I hadn't heard Maddox's name until the fucking Justin Wang video. And so
Yeah.
instead of just like letting it die and let it go away, he brings it back up. He pulls it back up. And all he's doing is giving fucking Dick Masterson a fucking plate, a 5-course
Buffet.
meal, a buffet. Yeah, a fucking buffet of all of Dick's favorite flavors. And fucking just fucking being like, go to town, buddy. Go to fucking town. Like you're
No,
just
why are you
handing Dick
eating that?
content.
No, you look, you don't touch. No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Maddox like does things that like weirdly sabotage his own potential growth in anything. When he had a small part of spark that anyone else could have followed and made anything successful, he just had such like low inhibition and didn't realize anything. He always is completely unable to see outside of himself, and because of that, he just assumes everything with every single social interaction. Assumes such weird level of intimacy with everyone. And
Yeah.
all he's been doing for the past few years, no YouTube videos, or barely. A video like every other fucking month. For a while, there's like a good stream of like no videos whatsoever. He's been on Twitch as Oxmad or Banana Dox, where it's
Yeah.
like he refuses to mention Maddox. He gets like 10 viewers, and like on there, if you mention like Maddox, you either get banned or he talks about my good friend Maddox. And he just seems like a complete like lunatic. Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like he has this entire setup where he's like humiliating himself in an outfit all day for no money. It's like, why
Right.
would he do this? It's just insane.
So my question is, why did he do this now? Why did he make this video now? Do you think it's
because he's been working on it
Because
for
it was
5
finished.
years. Because this is all he's been doing. It's all he's been doing. It's all
so
he's been
you're
doing.
saying if he had the power to release that video a week after the lawsuit was pushed away, it would have happened, right?
Maddox never has the power to do anything incredibly quickly. He does things incredibly slowly. If Maddox Maddox could have been using this time to produce like 30 small videos, like once a month, and maybe like maintain a level of success. Like biggest debate, it was kind of a failure. His podcast network ended in a failure. But for a while, you know, he had some pretty big guests on there. He had fucking Rucka Ali as a co-host for a while, you know? It was like after Biggest Problem broke up, he could have maintained some form of growth. His name originally was pretty big. If he had just been consistent and not just his platform that he already built up that had like 300,000 subs, because he's lost a lot now, the Maddox YouTube channel. If he just was consistent on there, because originally he was just on his website, but if he was just consistent on his YouTube, he could have just, you know, maybe collabed with some people, done some videos on like, okay, Maddox, like one of the first content creators or something like this. But because he was unable to see outside himself, you're in this situation now when no one knows who he is, and you immediately just assume he's a complete failure because he's losing subs, he's bleeding everywhere. What's he created as the last his magnum opus is a plausible false narrative, which is only interesting to people who know nothing else about the story. People like Harley Mornstein, who's just like I think Harley Mornstein is just completely dishonest and extends his own pathology everywhere. And he was saying like, I'm friends with Maddox. I didn't know he did all this stuff. And he was going to talk to Dick Masterson about it, but apparently he missed his bar mitzvah or something, a friend's bar mitzvah.
Okay.
No, this is an actual excuse.
Yeah.
So he couldn't talk to him.
That's so weird. All right, well, I think it does kind of take advantage of the people that weren't around for this. People like me who didn't really know the lore. Like when you first watch that video, you're like, "Wait, did Dick steal Bitcoin from
There is
Maddox?"
there is a lot of people who do know the Maddox name, who are pretty old now, who are most familiar with YouTube, and they just have Maddox on because they just reach out. So, oh yeah, I remember Maddox. Like Yo Mama, that's probably how we got acquainted with him. There's that weird screenshot of the Skeptic YouTuber meetup with Sargon Ricard with the Kekistan flag. Some black guy, and Maddox is there, like hunched over with Rucka Ali beside him. In there. Which is pretty fun. It's pretty funny.
We should try get Maddox on.
There's no way. Did
No
you
way.
see?
No
Did
way.
you see his reaction to Tommy?
No.
When
No,
Tommy,
what did he do?
oh, you didn't see that? Tommy tweeted at him like, this fucking video
Oh, I
seems
saw
like a
Tommy,
narcissist."
going on about how
Yeah,
this is the most pathetic video I've ever
Yeah,
fucking
and then you know what?
seen.
Did you see Maddox's reply? You saw Maddox's reply? It was
You never watched the video.
Do you support pedophiles, Tommy?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
He pulled it
I
on
think there's
Alex.
only been 3 or 4 people that have ever been able to have Maddox on his on their podcast. Drunken Peasants, and the most other notable one is Doug TenNapel, the creator of Earthworm
What?
Jim.
The fucking right-wing psycho? That guy?
Yeah.
Yes, the creator of Earthworm Jim. Because back in the day, he had a bunch of people you probably wouldn't expect to have on. Like Doug TenNapel, you may know for being like a Christian evangelist who has he set up a church for gay people to marry, but they can't have sex. Like, there's like a bunch of weird things about Doug TenNapel you may know, but you also probably know that he did create the Earthworm Jim. He created Earthworm Jim, but he sold the rights, so he hates all the products that came from Earthworm Jim, including the TV show and stuff like this. So he used this to get a bunch of people on, including Justin Wang. He had on Monkey Jones, Dick Masterson, and Maddox. Back in the day, he had on his fucking podcast, and he would ask some stories about like church and shit. And he didn't ask because Maddox was like a big fan of Earthworm Jim, so he went on the podcast, and he didn't ask. He didn't think like, oh, I'm gonna have to ask Doug TenNapel to like fucking censor all the super chats donations. So he read them all out.
Yeah,
and they're all about the lawsuit. And this was the very first time Maddox ever addressed the lawsuit publicly, and Nick Recator. And this is when he claims like Nick Recator is like, it's like, why won't you do an interview with Nick Recator? He wants to interview you on the lawsuit. And Doug's like, who is Nick Recator? Can you tell me about this? And he's like, that's a blackface lawyer. I don't know. And he's like scrambling over it, and he's just like, at this point, his facial expressions completely change, and he's trying to get out of it any way he can. But it's like at the end of the show, and Doug's keep fucking pummeling with fucking super chats, and he just can't escape them.
Yeah. By the way, for legal reasons, Nick Recator is not a blackface lawyer. He's simply just a lawyer who once did blackface. That's it.
Yeah. Do you know what's also funny? The lawyer that fucking exploited Maddox, because basically the only guy he could find was this guy based in Texas, because he couldn't find an actual Californian lawyer. He found this Texan lawyer, Kevin Landau, which you may find from typing in worstlawyer.com. The world's worstlawyer.com redirects now to Kevin A. Landau.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I heard he was it was a shit show because of him.
He is a guy who had 2 DUIs. There's a bunch of parody music songs made on Kevin A. Landau. He's like completely incompetent. What he does, and what it's noteworthy about Kevin A. Landau, he picks up cases from people who are completely insane, and they just like he gets all the money possible, and then he knows he's just going to get the case dismissed in court, and that's just how he makes money.
He specialized in dog bites, people that got bitten by dogs and would sue.
Why the fuck did he get this guy? Why didn't he get like a fucking New York lawyer? Like
because no one would probably take it.
No one would. He was suing him for $360 million.
Yeah, like it got thrown out, didn't it? Because the judge was like, "What the fuck is this?"
The judge was like, "The judge said fake news."
It got dismissed under perjury, which Maddox claimed was a stalemate. It's like a tie, you know? It got dismissed, it's not resolved. I can just sue again. It isn't resolved. It's like, no, dismissed under perjury means you lost, Maddox. You don't get dismissed under perjury and he fucking like, no, that just means like the fucking judge was
he perjured himself in the court, but I can't remember what it was now, but he admitted that he was Heather S. He admitted he was that fake journalist.
Heather S.
Where he had earlier said that it wasn't him.
Yes, Heather S. is the woman, or was a journalist who did a paper on who worked for his newspaper. I can't remember the paper, unfortunately.
But Asterios fired.
Yes, Asterios worked at a company called Weber Shandwick. Asterios Kokkinos, who did bits on like the Biggest Problem in the Universe original run. He was the guy on the last episode of Biggest Problem, but he associated with Maddox. He did the Christmas Cuck album, and he even had like Asterios Aid because he was mentioned in the lawsuit himself. There was a few funny people mentioned in the lawsuit, including like Maddox itself. But there was a write-up from Heather S. To Asterios to get him fired from Weber Shandwick that included screenshots that Asterios never said. It was screenshots that Dick Masterson said, but it was because he was associated with him. But he just pressured him so much that he fucking got him fired. He admits, though, that this person, Heather S., is actually fucking Maddox himself. And do you know what's funny? In the video where there was this weird like rape threat, where on the Justin Wang video, you may remember there was this person who made this weird rape threat at my ex-girlfriend who was a fan of Justin Wang. of the stalker. He blurs up the name, but the name was Heather S.
Right.
It wasn't Maddox making that threat, but it was someone making a very clearly obvious. And I think it's still a bit far because it's like mentioning that person's real name, right? But it's like it's very clearly, if you read it, a joke, and then if you unblur the name because the name was blurred, it was Heather S. And it was after this was revealed in court. The person, it was like very clearly, it's meant to be Maddox, like desperately trying to get back with Mental Jess, who had dumped him at this point as well.
Right. Holy shit.
Like,
there's so many avenues to this fucking thing. Mitch, you
there's
should
a
have
lot
made
of
like a
songs
2-hour
that have been
video
made
on this.
There's a fun
that wouldn't be
parody.
abbreviated then, Matt.
Yeah.
There's a song someone made on fucking there's this guy Condone and Hyde who used to make a lot of parody songs for fucking Dick Masterson. It's like the Dick Masterson variation of like Mike the Bike, and he made one on the Heather S called The Real Heather S from like, Real Sims Lady, and the chorus was like, "No, I'm Heather. There's one other Heather who's not a cross-dresser. So won't the real Heather S please stand up?"
Yeah, that's funny.
Because Heather S was actually like a real person that Maddox was impersonated. Like that he admitted in court, and also where he claims like if you can read the actual transcripts, they are on the internet, and they also they are the first ever video Nick Recator ever made on YouTube. Because Nick Recator came from Nick Recator came from that community because Dick Masterson
now he's bigger than all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now he's got a fucking
on
Netflix. Yeah, now he's got a thing on Netflix on the Johnny Depp stuff.
Yeah, he's doing live streams at one point with 100K concurrent viewers. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
And all that started from was Dick Masterson saying like, "Hey, I've got my own lawyer to cover this, but if any other lawyer would like to see this and just see how ridiculous this seems, because I'm not a lawyer myself." And he just said that on an early episode, and Nick Recator reached out to him. He wasn't a content creator whatsoever, and he made a video on it.
Holy shit!
That's how it started. And ironically enough, the whole that's why people were asking him to do like an interview with Nick Recator on Doug to Naples show, and he would always just like no. But the funny thing about that shit, if you read the court documents itself, where he claims that like it wasn't about it was about him defaming me and stuff like that, and he claims nothing about the word cuck, which is maybe like the lawsuit about the word cuck and stuff like this. On page 2 of the lawsuit, the word cuck is mentioned 36 times.
Right.
It was about the word. It was about him being called the word cuck. It mentioned Asterios Kokonos' album Cuckmas Carols, and also another person he sued was, I think, a guy straight out of college in America. A guy who they would have on the Dick Show back in the day was this guy Maddox, who appears in several songs as well, who was a guy who would mimic incredibly well all the idiosyncrasies and the preservations of Maddox's just speak. So every time Maddox would stutter, when he would be panicked, it would be Maddox just normally. But the point of Maddox is he would do that and also talk as with the dialogue of someone with Down syndrome. And it talks about like this man who is impersonating me with very clearly making fun of my intelligence by saying I have Down syndrome and stuff like this. That's in the fucking court record. Like, so like fucking Maddox was talking to Kevin A. Landau and saying like, I gotta get this guy who was making fun of me for making fun of me saying I had Down syndrome. And it's like fucking Maddox. Some guy who didn't even have a YouTube channel. He would just go on the fucking Dick Show because he would just do these really good impressions.
He does have a YouTube channel. He does.
He got after.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
But he was just some random kid who was just like in the
he was a fan.
Yeah.
And then called in pretending to be Maddox.
Yeah, and he would be like a recurring guest because he would all the new text messages and stuff like that, Dick would have Maddox read them. So it would sound like just a really retarded version of Maddox was reading them. And it'd be like,
he's the guy that read the letter at the show from the ex-girlfriend 80s guy. He's that guy.
All right. Last thing I want to talk about real quick. Maddox put out a website that goes over all the Dick stuff and all that. And on that website are the names of 5,000 people that were in like the Dick Masterson Facebook group. And from what I'm hearing is this list was taken in 2017. So a lot of those people are just fans of the biggest problem in the universe who had no hatred towards Maddox whatsoever, who just kind of like, it just kind of died down. And they just stopped, and now their name is on a website.
Yeah, I can attest that was at least before 2018 because my name's not on it. And I'm definitely in a couple of Facebook groups.
Do you know what's funny? Not only are there a few people there dead, because there's like Cantalians, who was like a big Dick Show contributor, who he did name, by the way, in that video, who is dead now. He died last year.
Did he talk about him in the alive sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, oh Jesus. Okay.
And
because he died he died a year ago now.
Yes, a year ago now, full year ago. But the funny thing is, with the entire thing, you can't do that. There's actual like laws on that in a lot of countries. I noticed specifically in Canada that's like, there's really stringent on just having like names put out there on a list. In that literal context, it's like names put out on the internet on like a forum on a big list like that. You can't just do that. You can't fucking do that to a list people may not still be on. There's a lot of people on there from incredibly different countries that aren't just fucking in America that have much tighter laws that someone could potentially sue him on, and they probably have good grounds to.
So he could get sued now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Several times, up to 5,000 times.
Yeah.
There's some funny names in there though. There's some
Class
funny
action.
names in that Dick Show group. If you know a lot of people, there's some pretty funny names that are in there.
Oh yeah, a lot of meme names and stuff.
Yeah, but there's also some like pretty. You can look for like some names of some like content creators that are in there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of. I went to see if Mitch's name was on there. I was like, wait, is Mitch on here? And I was like, and then I DM'd him. I was like, "You're clear, buddy. I didn't see you."
I'll be honest. When I was watching the video and he did that, I was like, "Oh fuck."
You're in the clear. Oh shit. Well,
and then I actually thought, wouldn't it be funny if I just pretend that I'm on there, so then I've got like an alibi, a cover, like, oh yeah, that my last name's actually one of those ones, so that.
Well, now you can't.
My real name.
Already...
Fuck.
Good idea, Mitch.
Yeah.
It was a great idea.
Yeah. You should have told me before that. I would have went with it. All right. Any final thoughts on this whole thing? This shit show?
Yeah. I'm just worried, just as a bit of housekeeping. We said the word rape a lot in this episode, but you at one point, Matt, said the R word. So does that mean you want me to bleep every single time?
I specifically used the R word when it talked about R wording woman. When I used the phrase R wording, or when I said R wording woman.
Oh,
women.
Fuck. Yeah, I didn't do that. Yeah, I did a rape list and shit.
No, it's fine. You're good. We're good.
This is gonna be an editing nightmare.
No.
Great.
Don't censor. Don't just first 5 minutes censor. Other than that, you're good.
You, Matt Peter, telling me not to censor rape?
Whatever crazy thing we say in the first 5 minutes.
I just want you on record to say that.
Yes. Don't censor.
No, not yes. I need a sentence. I need a soundbite.
Do not censor everything past 5 minutes.
You son of a bitch. Like fucking Neo here dodging the fucking soundbite gotchas.
What are you looking for? What are you trying to get the soundbite?
I'm looking for. I want you to say the words. No, don't censor rape.
No.
So I could use that.
What do you want me to do? Rape.
Yeah.
On the first fucking date. Yeah. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our episode on Maddox. I hope this shit keeps going, and I know Dick is going to milk it as much as possible.
I mean, Maddox doesn't got any better to do, has he?
Yeah, and Maddox is going to keep putting out stuff. So we're basically seeing a resurgence of this drama from 2017, and it's happening now. So I hope maybe if it still goes, we can get Dick on and talk more about it. We had him on an episode a few months ago. We didn't really get too much into the Maddox stuff, but
I don't know. I think we pissed him off then.
No, we're cool.
No, I think I did. I pissed him off.
How?
He's definitely going to be pissed off when he finds out I'm going to jerk off over his girlfriend at some point. I didn't say anytime soon. Just I might be in the old man home, like.
Well, if he gets pissed off, if he gets pissed off about it, you could be like, "All right, well, okay then, Maddox. Jeez, my bad. I'm sorry that offended you, Mr. Maddox. Jeez, you gonna sue me now?"
It's not like I fucked her or anything, Maddox.
It's not like I drove her home from a wedding while drunk.
Please make sure nothing happened.
He's pretty base though. He'd probably be like, "Awesome, yeah."
Yeah, that's what I think they would do it like. I am gonna send him the timestamp.
The only person who would be offended is fucking Maddox in front of you.
Yeah.
It's like my
No,
ex-girlfriend.
that's my property.
Oh, did you see the part where he was like, I got over that girl a long time ago. I was dating this cool gamer fucking metalhead girl.
Yeah,
model."
that's why he wrote a
Metal
2-page
Jess.
letter
That's
to
Metal
her
Jess.
saying, I love you
Yeah.
and miss you.
That's
Yeah,
Metal
yeah.
Jess, who has since said that Maddox was incredibly. Metal Jess actually has a lot of allegations against Maddox. I don't think
No
now
shit.
should be the best time to get into it. A lot of it's just like it's not like rape or whatever, but a lot of it's pretty bad.
What if it's just like he's just annoying? Like that's the allegation. He's just fucking annoying. That'd be funny.
No, it was like he was stealing money from her. I don't know if we should get into these allegations here from Metal Jess
we'll
because
see-
Metal
see-
Jess herself isn't like the best narrator.
Yeah. We'll see if
personally.
it comes out. If it comes out, then we'll cover it. But I don't want to
These
start shit.
allegations, it's a few
Maddox is
old-
such a cuck. I think that Maddox was the one that got essayed by her, if there's any allegation like that.
Jesus Christ. Okay, thank you.
No, it
Very
was
good.
like he was stealing a lot of stuff from her and shit, and it came out afterwards. But like Metal Jess is the person who went up to get 80's girl fired.
Yeah.
She was complicit in all this cancellation attempts by Maddox. I do not trust her word whatsoever.
Fair
She
enough.
was resuscitating this plausible false narrative for a while, and she stayed with him during the entire fucking lawsuit and then dumped him fucking after he ran out of money. So it's funny.
All right. Well, the thing about Maddox, right, is he could have really milked this thing, and he could have made a lot of money. Dick is going to be making a lot of money. Dick is
He
good
already
with
is.
money, but I think Maddox is bad with money. Those who are also bad with money are the Gaming Witch, the Gadget Guy, Echo of Tragedy, Brooke A, Ringtail, Everborn, Extremely Happy Simmer, Stefan Corbino, Joe, aka Mr. Bramley, Strictly Patrick, Kresh, Booski, Jacob Thomas, K Huck, Reynold Hughes, and Mame. If you want to be bad with money, you pay $14.99 a month. We say your name after every episode and every live stream. Can't afford that because who can these days? $10.99 a month gets you access to priority calls. That's the Beaver Lover. Or gets you early access to now recording episodes. And if you can't afford that, there's the Stumpies. $4.99 a month gets you access to our Discord server, as well as membership live streams and exclusive membership episodes. And those are our membership tiers. Anything else, guys?
No, I think that's it. Apart from Gaming Witch, just want to remind you specifically, I'm streaming for 12 hours on December 28th, letting you know for no reason at all.
Okay.
December 28th, 6 p.m.
Tyrone, it's always a pleasure having you on. I think we're going to have you on again for the Hunter Avalon episode because you just
I know a lot about Hunter.
Yeah, you just
so
know
stay tuned.
everything. If you want to check out Tyrone's streams, we'll have a link to his YouTube channel in the description.
Hell yeah.
So go check that out. And remember, now recording is always recording.